know it's been a while. Sorry it's taken me so long to get back. Almost done with my MBA, so that's good. We just recently won a nice little battle in our government, as the universal background check thing was shot down. That's nice. So we don't have to register our guns yet, and they haven't taken away or banned anything yet, but it was just a battle. The war is far from over, so be sure to stay on top of it, educate people, tell them about firearms and how they're actually not a criminal in and of itself. These are not evil things, just like money is not an evil thing when it's used for the appropriate things. Firearms not. So, just throwing that out there as a quick FYI. So, today I had thought I would do the controversial AK or AR debate. In the end, it's going to be the same as everybody's, which boils down to it's basically up to you. First, we'll always chamber check the firearms, so that one's clear, that one's clear. So, both firearms are chamber checked and clear. Both really, really fun firearms. I love both of them. I'll do actual reviews on the individual guns later, but so which one is a better gun? Well, if you've seen my gas piston versus gas impingement review, you'll know that obviously the AK is a gas piston. This gun up here, which is not an ideal one to show you, is also a gas piston. So, having said that, we're going to treat it like it was an impingement because I've got another one, but I just didn't want to show it today. Anyway, so the questions that people have are which one's better, and it's really going to boil down to your use, your functionality, and what you're looking to do with it. Let's talk about ammo first. The AK on general basics runs a 7.62 by 39. The ammo right now is about neck and neck for cost-wise, so that's really not going to be a huge detriment either way. Now, the ballistic coefficient of the AK is such that basically the bullet is much heavier than the actual amount of oomph behind it. So yeah, it has a lot of kinetic energy, but it tends to, instead of level out slowly, it's actually much more rapid arc when you fire it and it starts to drop. It has a very, very quick drop rate. So it's not going to reach out quite as far. Having said that, you can still compensate and make this gun reach great distances. And generally speaking, what you're going to use it for, more than likely it'll be sufficient. The AR uses a 223 or a 5.56 round. 5.56, of course, being the NATO. That one has a better coefficient, so the round will tend to fly more straight and with just a gradual taper. Both of them, of course, will have various effects depending upon windage, gravity, whatnot. That stuff that will come into play over the gun itself, or not about. Basically, that's an ammo issue. It's not really the gun. But basically, generally speaking, for a little bit more, I hate the term knockdown power, but if you're looking for that, the AK tends to have a little bit more stacked in its favor, whereas the AR has a much lighter round. In fact, it's essentially the same as a 22 in diameter. There's slight differences, of course, but basically you can use a 22 brush to clean this thing. So ammo-wise, that's something to consider. You'll probably get a little bit more distance out of the AR, a little less out of the AK, and you'll have a little bit more kinetic energy out of the AK than you out of the AR. However, that's based on standard rounds, like a 55 grain for this guy. If you were to buy a 70 grain round for this, 70 grain plus, it still has a significant amount of energy, and it will also have a fairly good knockdown power. Accessories, the AR up and above has more accessories than an AK. There are still lots of accessories for AKs, but ARs are just much easier to find and generally easier to apply and are universal. I've found aftermarket mags for this guy, and even so, it is very difficult to get them all to fit. I take this gun with me when I'm going to go buy a mag and actually test fit them before I put them in, because not all AK mags fit this AK. This is a Century Arms Sportster. Like I show here, I've got different furniture. I've got an ATI grip up here. I've got an ATI pistol grip, and then this is actually an ATI stock, but I was able to put a Magpul stock on it. So the Magpul stock actually is really nice, but it's just a nice 6 position. Your AR, you can get lasers, lights, mounts, different grips, different stocks. I mean, just tons and tons of stuff. So you're going to be a little bit limited on accessories for your AK, whereas there'll be much more for the AR. Same thing with mags. You'll find mags for the AR. Right now, not so much, but just because of the craziness with our political environment. But the AK mags are a little bit harder to find. Overall, they're usually pretty easy, either or, but they're not. It just depends on how things are going at the time. Like I said, right now it's kind of hard to find good mags. Love P mags for the AR. Great gun there for that accessory. Cleaning and breakdown. Admittedly, cleaning and breaking down the AK is a much easier firearm. I'll see if I can do it really quick without jostling the camera too much. You push in the dust cover pin right there, pop that out. Pull out the recoil spring, pull out the bolt, or the piston, and then there's your bolt. A little bit of a twist, pop, done. The AR, you pop the pin from the other side. You can tell there we go. Pull the charging handle a little bit, pull out your bolt, your charging handle. From here you have to pull out this little pin, if I can get it. Let me grab something to grab that real fast. Pull out the little cotter pin, drop out your firing pin. There's the cotter pin. And then you pivot this, pop that guy out, pull out your bolt, done. As you can see, more parts to the AR. Likewise, a little bit more intense to take apart. I wasn't able to do it with my bare hands, whereas with the AK, no problem, start to finish. So that'll probably play a little bit in your deciding factor as well. Let's talk accuracy. Generally speaking, your standard AR will be accurate in a greater sense than the AK. Now, having said that, hear me out. I know that there are very accurate AKs out there. I know Arsenal in Las Vegas, they make very good AKs, and if there's some other reviewers who's actually gotten 1-inch groupings at 100 yards with iron sights with the Arsenal AK. That's kind of a rarity, but the quality is going to play a big factor in there, and basically you're paying the same price point between the AR and the AK for that kind of a quality. Generally speaking, price-wise, your AKs will run a little bit less than your ARs, though they are starting to creep closer to one another in our current environment. And these are just the cheap imports. The really nice ones are going to cost you basically the same amount as an AR. So there's that. Price point, accuracy. Now, really quick, if you haven't seen my gas piston versus impingement video, generally speaking, these piston guns in the AR platforms tend to be a little bit less accurate. Having said that, there are some manufacturers who make some that are specifically made around the piston system rather than actually adapting a current gas piston or gas impingement system for the piston. This one's been this is a piston or impingement system that's been reworked to a gas system by Stag Arms. It's a Model 8. So basically, it's not going to be quite as accurate as some of the other models. LWRC makes a really good one, just for instance. Rock River makes a good one. So there are some who've actually worked the piston system into it and basically redesigned the gun around it while maintaining the AR look, feel, and appearance. So that's something to consider as well. Reliability. Your standard ARs, admittedly, have been known to jam up a little bit more than your AKs. Pardon. So the AK here, running that thick, heavy piston, this guy, obviously is going to have a little bit less problems if you're getting it in the mud and the dirt than a standard AR. Now, some of the ARs with piston systems have done just as well as AKs and maintained a slightly better accuracy. But it goes back to there are give and take depending on manufacturer and things. Weight, they're about 6s, honestly, once you get everything on it. I mean, this AK right now with just a simple red dot and this furniture weighs just as much as my AR with a vertical grip, with a quad rail system, and with a magnified red dot optic. So I am able to get a little bit more. Generally speaking, your ARs are going to be a little bit lighter weight than your AKs. So considering that, the price-wise and all that, the choice is obviously going to be up to you. For me, I will be 100% with you. I love shooting both. The one downside that I really hate with the AK, it's a little bit harder to suppress, just because, especially these aftermarket, or not these aftermarket, these import models, just because there's some work that needs to be done on them to make sure that the suppressor lines up and all that. The AR is a lot easier to get the accessories for, to suppress, to work with. So the ARs, I think, have a lot of bonuses in my mind. The AKs are fun. They used to be pretty inexpensive, so they weren't a bad way to go. Now you're looking at a little bit of a questionable scenario. Now, if you want to know something else, there is a new variant out there. I hate to say it because I'm trying to get my hands on one. It's the SIG 556R, which is essentially their 556 model, but it takes the 7.62 by 39 round. So essentially, you're going to get a flat-topped SIG model, so you can put on an optic easier. It'll shoot the inexpensive rounds with a little bit more kinetic energy. It is threaded, so you can put on a suppressor. So I mean, there's some nice features about it. I'm not sure how well it'll do overall, but we'll see. It is a piston system, so that's kind of a nice little medium point where you can get a lot of the benefits from an AR style, although it's not. It still has a very different appearance, but some of the niceties of the AK as well. So just an interesting thought. Take it with a grain of salt. Make your decision based on what your preferences are, and just have fun. Be sure to keep contacting your representatives, Congress, senators, all those people who make a difference. Let them, the ones who voted for us, tell them thank you. Keep up the good fight, and just keep educating and letting other people know this is not over. We need to defend our rights for our Second Amendment, as well as everything else that's going on in our current political environment. But this is one of the major things. So, have a good one. Thanks for watching.